There is little debate about the value of rest in our lives. You could talk to doctors, you could talk to athletes, philosophers, religious leaders, corporate leaders, and they would all attest to the importance and the value of rest for our bodies, for our minds, for our well-being. Think about some of the benefits of rest. When we rest, we have healthier bodies. When we rest, we have less stress in life. What is stress but this perception that the demands of life are greater than the resources we have to meet them? But when we take intentional time for rest, we begin to realize that we do in fact have enough resources to meet the demands of life going forward. When we rest, we tend to have better relationships. When we're rushing from activity to activity and thing to thing, rarely do we take the opportunity to slow down and invest in the people who are closest to us. Rest offers us reflection in life. When we take a step out of the rat race, we're able to see where are we going, why are we going there, is this the best direction to be going, is there a better way to get there, is there a completely different direction I should be going with my life? This is what happens when we find rest and calm. We're able to reflect. Rest brings balance in life almost naturally when we take time to rest. It means we have greater work, life, health, habit, balance in our life. Rest also results in greater productivity. When we rest our minds and we rest our bodies, we're able to come back and accomplish more in a shorter period of time. Rest also prepares us for life's emergencies. At least when we intentionally build rest into our lives. One of the hardest things about emergencies is that if we've filled our life to the brim with activity, when an emergency comes, we don't have the margin to handle it. But if we've built in a little bit of space and a little bit of margin for rest, when an emergency comes, we have the time and the energy to handle it. We can see the value of rest, but we tend to live in a society that is so frenzied and busy and hurried that we're losing the practice of rest. Rest is one of the most important lessons that I learned from my parents. And I don't know anyone who doesn't desire more of it. So how do we begin to practice rest? Not just going to bed at night, but finding a significant period of time, 12 to 24 hours every single week, where I'm resting. Here's some ideas. Number one, we need to find contentment in our life. One of the reasons we get so busy and stressed is because we're not content with the life that we have, and we always desire a different life than we're living. And so we rush, trying to earn more money, trying to fill our days with more things and more activities so that we can accomplish this different way of life than we have. But when we find blessing in what we have and when we enjoy the life that we have, it becomes much easier to find time and schedule in rest to enjoy it. Number two, we plan for rest. We make it a part of our weekly routine. One of the best pieces of advice that I ever got growing up was someone told me, he said, Joshua, spend 5 days a week at work, take 1 day at home to handle the affairs at home, and then the 7th day, rest. Find space to relax and recoup for your next 5 days of work coming forward. And so we plan it. We put it into our schedule. Number three, we take responsibility for our own lives. We realize that we are ultimately in charge of our schedule and our calendar, that we cut down on responsibilities, scheduling, commitment that we don't want to be a part of, that we don't need to be a part of. We show up in our own lives and we take control of it and we say, this is going to be a part of my life going forward. Number four, embrace simplicity in life. When we accumulate more and more things, when we buy more and more stuff, the more possessions we have, the more of a burden they become. Suddenly that one day to take care of the affairs at home spill into more days and more time and more commitments. But the more we embrace simplicity in not just our possessions, but our schedules, the more we're able to find rest. Number 5, we include family in our rest. It can be difficult to find rest if everyone else in your family is off doing their own thing. I think it's one of the reasons I'm so thankful for my parents and the lessons that they taught me. Every Sunday, I knew growing up, they were going to be taking a nap Sunday afternoon. We would go to church in the morning, they would nap in the afternoon, and we would have a slow, calm evening at home. I try my best to do the same, even now as I have my own family going forward. And lastly, we change how we think of rest. To rest is not to rust. There seems to be this thinking in society that resting is wasteful, but quite the opposite is true. Resting prepares us to be more productive going forward. We take time to rest each week so that we can live bigger lives, more accomplished lives, reaching new levels of fulfillment and significance. Resting isn't about checking out of life. It's about taking time to recoup so that we can live our best life each day. For more videos like this about how to own less and live more, click to subscribe.